Hello everybody and welcome to 101 Computational Problems with myself, Glenn Gilchrist. This is problem 4 and it's a variation of a well-known problem on the internet for computer programming called FizzBuzz. So Delyth Duck is going for a job interview. She's been asked to prepare some code that solves the FizzBuzz problem. FizzBuzz is a counting game where numbers divisible by 3 are replaced by fizz, numbers divisible by 5 are replaced by buzz, and numbers divisible by both 3 and 5 are replaced by FizzBuzz. Write a program that counts from 1 to 100 and displays either the number or fizz, buzz or FizzBuzz as appropriate. And the challenge particularly here is that Delyth's challenge in the interview is to write code using no more than 2 conditional tests. So in my Jupyter notebook, I've commented and I'm starting FizzBuzz. So I'm going to start with, literally going to start with a function. This is going to be a FizzBuzz function. So I'm going to define a function, which I am going to call literally FizzBuzz of x. Okay. And FizzBuzz of x is going to test if the numbers are divisible by 3 and 5 or 3 and 5. Okay, so 3 and 5. 3 and 5, the first one's 15. So some conditionals I could write, okay. I guess if x divisible by is similar to the other problem, because I'm going to end up returning a kind of a remainder. If x percent sign, remember this modulus, if x percent sign 3, so let's divide x by 3 and report what's left over. If x percent sign 3 equals 0, what I'm saying there is if x, let's divide x by 3, and if there's nothing left over, we're going to do something, okay? So at that point, I could say, if x divided by 3, I could here now have, as per the instructions, I could print fizz. So if x is divided by 3, let's print fizz, okay? If x is divisible by 5, I'm going to print buzz. That works, doesn't it? And if x is divisible by both of these, so if x percent 3 equals 0 and x percent 5 equals 0, so if it's divisible by 3 and 5, I'm going to print FizzBuzz. Okay, if it's divisible by 3, print fizz. If it's divisible by 5, print buzz. If it's divisible by both of them, print FizzBuzz. And I guess if it's none of those things, if it's not divisible by 3 or 5 or 3 and 5, all right, if it's none of those things, if it fails all of those tests, well, I want it to print the x value, don't I? So how am I going to do that? If I just run this as a code as it stands, right? So if I just do for scratch in range, I don't know, 1 to 10, for example, and in this function, okay, what I'm going to do is I'm going to call FizzBuzz of scratch. It's going to start at 1 and it's going to push 1 into this function. 1 isn't divisible by 3 or 5 or 3 and 5. So actually it's not going to do anything, I don't think, for 1. 2. Okay, if I run this, I think I'm going to get nothing, nothing, and then fizz, because the first number that passes a test is fizz. Let's see what happens. There we go. I get fizz, buzz, fizz, fizz. But what I've lost, somehow I've lost some kind of thought process of what the numbers are, because if it's none of these tests, this function isn't returning anything other than fizz or buzz. So actually I need to be a little bit cleverer in my function here. somehow I need to get the number out, don't I? So if it's that, what I need some way of printing the number out. So let's try this instead. What if I create another variable that I'm going to call FB, and I'm going to say it's nothing, okay? So if it's divisible by 3, instead of printing FB, instead of printing Fizz, what I'm going to do is I'm going to make FB, I'm going to add to FB Fizz, because FB is nothing. So now I'm going to make FB equal to Fizz. If it's divisible by 5, I'm now going to make it additional adding on buzz. And actually, do I need the FizzBuzz line here now? Because the way I'm creating this, I'm taking it and I'm dividing by 3 and I'm adding Fizz. And then I'm checking to divide by 5 and I'm adding buzz. So actually, I've taken care of this conditional here already. So what I need this function to do is I need it to return FB, okay? And then here in this function, in this for loop, I'm printing out FizzBuzz. Still not going to work, I don't think. I'm still not going to get the numbers out, but let's see what happens when I run it. Okay, slightly different format, because what I've got here is I've got the missing numbers. I've got 1, 2, Fizz, which is right, 4, which is blank, 5, 6, blank, blank, Fizz. That's doing the right thing. I just need to get the numbers out of this function somehow. Somehow I need the function to return a number. I've already got the number's in the function, it's x, isn't it? Yeah, when this for loop, it pushes 1 into FizzBuzz. So x here is 1. So at this point here, I got the concept of x is 1. So I need to get x back out. So I could say FB equals x, but I don't know where I'd put that. There's actually an easier way, and it's here. Look, FB is blank. FB is nothing. It's a blank string. So I'm returning FB, but you'll notice that when FB is blank, it prints out a blank line. It's nothing. So actually, I could do a test here. I could return FB or x. And what that will do is, if FB exists, what the OR function does is it returns from FB or x the first one of these that's true. What that means is the first one of these that has a value. So when we start off with for scratchy in range 1, when we push 1 into FizzBuzz, 1 goes up here, and we pass 1 all the way through, and we get to here, we get to the return line here. So at this point, FB is blank, because it's failed all of these if tests. It's failed if x%, it's failed that one. It's not divisible by 5, it's failed that one. So at this point, FB is blank, so we've now got OR x. Well, x does have a value, it's 1. So now that'll produce an output of 1. On the next step around the for loop, we've got 2. So 2 is pushed into FizzBuzz. So we've now got x is 2. We go through the code again, FB is nothing. 2 fails this test, so we get to here. Return FB, well FB is nothing, so it's not going to return FB, or x, so it'll return a 2. So if I run this code, I should get 1, 2, Fizz, 4. Let's see what happens when I run the code. There we go. 1, 2, Fizz, 4, Buzz, Fizz, 7, 8, Fizz. But actually, we need to extend the numbers here because we need to see what happens by, what's the first number that's divisible by 5 and 3, which is 15. So if I extend this to, say, 20, let's go to 21, so it actually goes to 20. If I run this now, we'll go beyond Fizz, we shall go all the way up to 20. Let's see what happens. So now we've got 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, fizz, 4, buzz, fizz, 7, 8, fizz, buzz, 11, 12 is fizz, that is divisible by 3, 13, 14, and there we go, there's the first FizzBuzz. This FizzBuzz is divisible, 15 is divisible by both 3 and 5. So what's happening is it's divisible by 3, so it's adding fizz to the blank string. It is divisible by 5, so it's adding buzz. So what we get is FizzBuzz. And actually that's quite a relatively simple problem to solve. A couple of interesting things come out of FizzBuzz. One of them is this returning from a function one of two values. So instead of returning just the value that you're interested in, you can actually put some logic in what is returned, and I'm returning the first truthful value. If you use the OR function in the return, one of them will be true and it'll return the first one of them that's true. If they both happened to be true, now in our case that wouldn't happen, but if they did both happen to be true, it would return the first one of them that's true, which in this case would be FB. So there we go, there's been FizzBuzz. This is 101 computational problems with myself, Glenn Gilchrist. Please remember to like and subscribe. Thanks for listening.